An El Paso man was sentenced to 21 years in prison after being found to have fraudulently transferred property, titles, and deeds into his name and deceived potential buyers, and apparently swindling dozens of other people as well out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is...
Say his name. Victor Bernard Dennis. Whole government name.
47 years. Oh, Junior. You forgot he is Junior as well. Victor Bernard Dennis Jr.
Bringing shame to the family name.
47 years. And he pleaded guilty, and he pretty much told everything in a plea deal. I don't know what he would have got if he didn't tell everything, because I'm like, wow, you still got 21 years in prison. But to give you a little bit of backstory, Dennis admitted to fraudulently transferring El Paso-based properties that belonged to people who were either living out of town, out of state, or were deceased. He transferred the titles of those properties into his name or into his company's name by forging warranty deeds, fraudulently notarizing them, and then filing them with the county clerk's office. So
no respect for the dead. I mean,
He went all the way.
They took their last breath. I just then got the nerve to be in his mugshot like this.
Like, I can't believe this.
I can't believe they called me.
And I wanted to know what the brother's end game was, because I was like, some of these people were still alive. Like, of course, the deceased people, it's like, okay, I could see you thinking you may have gotten away with that. But people who were just out of town or out of state, lived in a different state, it's like, what was your end game? At what point did you think this wasn't going to come back on you? So it says that Dennis admitted to placing signage on the properties indicating that they were for sale. So after he fraudulently created these warranty deeds and filed them with the county clerk's office to make himself look like he was now the new owner of these properties, he then placed signs on the properties indicating that they were for sale, and then he would accept money from the people who were led to believe that they were buying the actual property. And so he drafted up fraudulent deeds to give to these people who thought that they were buying the actual property. And he would collect down payment money from them. He would collect rent money from them. He would collect, whatever it was that they were paying, or mortgage payments from them. He would collect all of this stuff from them. And they figured, oh, we bought the property. We own the property now. And all of this was just a big real estate fraudulent scheme where it basically, when it was all said and done, this was like over a decade's worth of fraud that was happening in real estate.
They were able to see.
They were able to see, yes.
As far back as 2014. This man been in the game a minute.
He has indeed. And wow. So, yeah, he's been doing this for a while, and then it amounted to him stealing over $500,000 in property. I actually listened to the district attorney's press conference on this, and it was about $566,000 that he stole over a decade worth. And this included about 30 homes. And I wanted to pause right there really quick. How cheap are these houses where, 30 of them, the total value of the real estate was $2.1 million. That's about 6 homes in Atlanta.
Today, right?
Today, it's like 6, maybe 8. If you get 10 $200,000 homes, that's $2 million right there. He had 30 properties, and the total value of that came up to $2.1 million. I'm like, wow, what is the real estate like in El Paso? I would say I might need to go buy some investment property, but who knows if it's legit, if, his name is on any, because he had about 8 different companies that he was operating under fraudulently to, act like he was doing this. And he was preying on real estate not real estate, military veterans as well. So military, active duty military, people that were looking to deploy. And so one of the tactics, and this is one of the things that came out in the press release that I watched, is that one of the things that he would do is that when a military individual was looking to deploy, not looking to, but they were going to deploy, then if they had a house that they were wanting to have sold, he would convince them that he would sell their house for them, take the load off of them, because the military members have a lot on their plate as is with all of the stuff they have to go through to prepare for deployment. So one less thing that they had to worry about. He said, look, let me take care of selling the house for you. I'll get it sold and then, take my commission and send you the rest of the money. So he convinced service members to transfer their deed over to him for him to sell their house. But rather than sell their house, what he did was he actually would have their deeds transferred over to him. He would not sell their house, but he would put it up as if it were going to be sold. He would collect down payment from other individuals. He would collect mortgage payments from other individuals. Sometimes he would sell the same property to multiple individuals, collecting multiple down payments for the same property. And it was about 8 of these homes that actually foreclosed because he wasn't paying the mortgages that were still on these properties. Because when you sell a property, you got to pay off the remaining mortgage and then you get to keep what's left. Well, he wasn't paying the mortgages on these properties. And so he ended up, 8 of them ended up foreclosing. But with some of the payments that he received, he did make some payments just to try and keep the mortgage companies at bay so he could continue the scheme a little bit longer before these properties actually foreclosed. And so that was one of the things that was happening with him targeting military service members as well. So
one thing that I find interesting is how long they let this go on. Well, it's just like when a person is shoplifting, right? The loss prevention and everybody, they see you while you're walking through the store stuffing things in your bag. They see you the entire time.
Yeah.
But they can't prosecute. They can't really do anything about it as long as you have the things in your bag and you're inside the store. It's when you go outside the store that it counts. So they're not going to stop you as you're stuffing, and they want you to stuff as many hundreds, even up to thousands of dollars worth of merchandise in your bag. They're not going to stop you because that builds the case even higher. So, I'm wondering if they knew about what he was doing the entire time and just waited till the perfect time to prosecute. And also, I believe that you make a good point that, all those homes and the most he stole, was like $500,000, almost $600K.
Yeah.
But it begs the question, do they actually have accurate numbers with that? They can only speculate that it's been going on since 2014. They can only speculate that it's been 70 people, that have been defrauded with his scheme. And I think that they're only speculating the dollar amount. Nobody really knows. He may not even. I mean, it's not like he's keeping accounting records. This is how much I stole last month. Come on. But I don't know. This is awful. Yeah. Awful.
So that brother, $500,000 over 10 years. Brother,
you can make that on a job.
You could have went to Chick-fil-A and become a manager and got that money. I mean,
15 years.
That's $50,000 a year. You could go find
you know what?
You could find a number of jobs for $50,000 a year. Like, come on.
That's true, but any amount of money, even $10, is a jackpot to a thief.
Yeah.
Any amount that they didn't have to work hard for, when they could have just asked, hey, most of these panhandlers out here making, they said $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year panhandling. I've heard that before. Just asking people. But the people that steal is like, well, I could ask you, but I don't want you to say no, so I'm just going to force my hand. I'm going to force your hand. But, I don't understand the logic. But, like I said, any amount of money is a jackpot to a thief, to a dishonest person.
Yeah.
They didn't have to work for it. They wouldn't made off the sweat of their brow. They said they was going to bypass the curse that was put on mankind in the garden. God said, by the sweat of your brow.
But the thing is, it's like, but you put in all this work to do. You already doing more work than what you may have had to do on an actual job. I mean, it's like you had
documents, all that paper and ink.
The paper, the documents, the ink, the warranty deeds you got to forge, and you forged the notarization on them. Then you had to go to the county clerk's office and lie to them. But then you also, I'm thinking of the conversations you had to have with people just to convince them that you're the person that's going to actually sell their property. And then you got to have conversations with other people, because now you got to show these homes to other individuals. And he's not a real estate agent. That was another thing that they mentioned on the press conference as well. He's not even a real estate agent. But it's like, so now you got the keys to these homes. You got to show the homes when people want to look at them. How many times are you having to show this home before you find someone that you can actually fraudulently convince you to for them to give you their money, thinking that they're buying the home? Like, how many people do you have to go through before you find the one that's that clueless to where they're like, oh, so I just give you all my money and then I own the home? Like, that is not at all how that works in any state that I'm aware of. So it's like, you had to do a good amount of work just to get to the ones that you could actually, knock over the head and take their money or whatever. So I'm like, if you already going through all of that work just to get, oh man, they just sent me a check for $5,000. It was like, yeah, you could have made that at a regular job, just working. And then you ain't got the police over your shoulders. And then afterwards, you don't have to spend 21 years in prison.
Felon.
I mean,
theft of property greater than or equal to $200,000. I didn't even know they had a category, $200,000.
I didn't either.
He has pled guilty to tampering with a governmental record with the intent to harm or defraud, forgery, and theft of property. Awful.
Yeah.
What a terrible mark to have on your name. And then you done this to people who have went out and fought so that your knucklehead behind could be free.
Yeah.
Service members. Woo.
Yeah, that was the thing, because obviously me being a service member, right. I am not oblivious to the fact that service members are unfortunately targeted by a lot of individuals because they see them as being easy targets. You're constantly moving around because it's the nature of the job. You're transferring from duty station to duty station every couple of years. You go on deployments from time, so you may be gone for 6 months, 9 months, a year, on deployment somewhere else before you come back. And who knows what your life's going to look like then. And so it's just prime opportunity for service members, especially those who are not well informed, to be taken advantage of. And so maybe, that's something I should actually include. So I'm working on a book specifically for VA loans, but I'm like, I should include some of that stuff in the book as well, just
amen,
to help service members at least know, like, look, don't be out here getting scammed.
Yeah, put your special, things in place, safeguards in place. Because
I sure enough purchased my first home while I was in the military, utilizing the VA loan. Did not know a fraction of what I know now about the mortgage and real estate industry. So there was so much that, they could have gotten over on me, as well. And it's like, I just would not have known, because when you're young in your, mid 20s, which is what I was when I purchased my first home. And it's like, you have no idea of what you don't know. And so you're like, I want to buy a home. You get a real estate agent, and that real estate agent, who's ever asked to see their real estate agent's license? They say, yeah, I'm a real estate agent. Or you Google somebody and, they got reviews on there, and, you just take them at face value. I've never asked to see a real estate agent's license, and I work with real estate agents all the time. There's some stuff that you just take at face value, and then you meet with a loan officer. But you don't actually meet with them, because the loan officer that financed the first house that I never met them. I think I actually did meet them once in person. But other than that, most people never meet their loan officer in person. You know, it's always behind a computer screen, talking on the phone or whatever, but they're getting all of your sensitive information, you know, your social security numbers and your everything. And so, you know, it's a lot of opportunity for people to be, you know, defrauded and taken advantage of if you're not aware of how things are supposed to happen. So yeah, I mean,
Big companies. Let's see: KV Homes LLC, Omega Land Trust,
yep,
Southwest Land Trust,
Southwest,
Pinnacle Land Trust, Aztec Land Trust,
yep,
Sandstone Land Trust. Don't nobody trust you. You're not trustworthy. And Legion Investments. He had a legion, all right, just like that man in the Bible that the Lord had.
Well, you know,
Ooh.
yeah.
They have a phone number in this article because they feel like it's more than 70 victims out there.
Oh, and this article just came out. This one came out today. And so, I mean, they're still investigating it. And the district attorney even said in their press conference that, you know, they're still going through stuff and they're still, you know, determining how deep this rabbit hole goes, essentially.
Ooh, they going to put him under the jail. He ain't never going to get out. And he's a youngish guy, you know, 47. He had his whole life in front of him.
And now it's like, okay, 21 years. So you're going to get out when you're 68. Like I said, 10 years, 50,000 a year, you could have made that same thing that you just stole over the last. What?
Chick-fil-A.
Anybody working at no Chick-fil-A?
That's the problem. That's the problem. Nobody want to do nothing honest.
Yeah.
Speaking of Frederick, so I have my own little scenario that happened just yesterday.
Okay.
I have had this piece of land. It's a little under 1.5 acres in Atlanta, Hateville to be exact.
Oh.
Nice, you know, up and coming area, right close to the airport, Delta headquarters, Porsche headquarters. So, you know, desirable. We've been on the market for about 80 days now, so almost 3 months. And hadn't gotten very many viable offers close to the number that the seller wants. So, you know, so we've been waiting. Had a couple of people that were, you know, seriously considering it. One that even said that they may, you know, pay for a survey or an appraisal, even without, right after getting it under contract, just to kind of see, you know, where they were at with it. But nobody ever did it to my knowledge. You know, as a listing agent, I'm supposed to get some sort of appointment request for anybody that needs to access the lockbox to access the property, right? So yesterday I had a really busy day. I had appointments all morning long. And I responded to a text from this particular seller like 2 hours after they sent the text. They were like, hey, can you call? I called and they were like, you know, who's getting a survey done today on the property? And I was like, come again? So, you know, sometimes I miss things. So I went back through the appointment software. I was like, nope, last time we had a showing was last Thursday. So I don't know. This is interesting. So then she was like, well, you know, let me get my, you know, brother on the phone. And when I'm talking to him, he was like, yeah, I thought you knew, you know. I was like, no, you know, anytime anyone has accessed the property since y'all gave me the keys, I have always called and told y'all, hey, we have an appointment coming up. So if you didn't hear from me, that means that I don't know about it. They were like, he was like, well, they're still there now. They've been there since this morning. And, you know, 1.5 acres, to do a survey on 1.5 acres, I guess it would take a while. So I was like, so you think they're still there now? I was only 15 minutes away, literally 15 minutes. And he was like, yeah. So I said, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to confront them. My big bad self, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to confront them because I don't know why they're there doing a survey and we don't have any kind of purchase contract on the property. What's going on? You know? So I go and it's a legit company by the name of Low Engineers. 3 guys working real hard, you know, taking pictures, you know, with the little measuring things that they do and, you know, just really working hard. I was like, okay. And so I walked up to them. I introduced myself. I was like, hey, I'm Julie Jones. I'm the listing agent, the person whose name you see on these signs. First of all, how did you all access the property? And they said, well, it was open when we came by, so we just let ourselves in. I said, okay, well, who hired you? What is the name of the person that has you here? And they were like, well, we can give you the name to our boss, but we don't know. We just take orders. Our boss would know the name of the client. So he calls his boss on speaker, and I'm standing right there. He doesn't necessarily tell him that he's on speaker, but he's like, the boss says, okay, he tells the boss what's going on, and he's like, have her call me. So I call, no answer. He doesn't answer. I text, he doesn't answer. So then I go above his head and just call the front desk of the company, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody answers, and then I get transferred. I tell them what's going on. I get transferred, and the lady that answered, she's like, okay, yeah, this is the name of the person that hired us. Like, I was surprised she gave me the name, right? So I get to doing some more research, because I just looked at their shirt. I was like, okay, the boss ain't gonna answer the phone after I know he just told this man to have me call him. So I'm gonna do some more research. I got and I Googled the name. Somebody in Kentucky came up. I called. This man was taking a nap and he didn't know what was going on. There's more than one, whatever first and last name that you can think of, there's more than one in the US, right? Mm-hmm. So it obviously wasn't that guy. So I'm anxious. I didn't want to just sit there and wait for the person to call me back. Like I'm trying to really figure this out. Mm-hmm. I'm looking on Instagram, but I deleted my social media like 8 months ago, so I couldn't actually see anything on the profile. You'll see my one picture, then it'll be like, sign up for Instagram. So I'm just like, So I'm really trying to figure this out. And then he's like, well, the workers are like, well, we'll only be 30 more minutes and then we'll leave. So by that time, finally, the boss calls me back, but he doesn't have a signal. So he's like, that's what I hear. I'm like dying for answers at this point, and it just seems like everything is just not going my way. So I was like, okay, you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to stress about it. So finally, I get in contact with the boss. Finally. And he's just like, yeah, this is the guy's name that hired us. This is his phone number, and this is his email. I was like, okay, so I'm going to call and just, see what's up. I called, the line didn't ring. It didn't trill, like, it didn't do that. It just went straight to voicemail, like nobody ever picked up. So I'm like, okay, great. So then I sent an email. Of course, I never got a response. Then several minutes later, I get a text back. Now, before this happened, the boss was like, this is really strange. We charge $10,000 to do surveys. I said, $10,000 on an acre and a half? He was like, yeah. So I said, that's an awful lot of money to spend on a property that they don't even have a contract on. You don't know if you're going to even be able to purchase this land. So that's red flag number one, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, yeah. I said, well, can you tell me if you've received any payments yet? So obviously, no. They just go out and do the work and then they invoice or bill later. That was their second red flag and one of their first mistakes, because I'm not doing nothing that's $10,000 without a sizable deposit first.
Oh, yeah.
Minimum.
You don't do free work for $10K. No.
Yeah, like, why would y'all do that? And so then he's like, I only talked to the guy once on the phone. The rest communication has been through email. So that's a little strange for me as well. Let me know what you find out. So then after I called the number that he gave me, the guy's not picking up. He's like, well, I only talked to him once. Everything else has been through email. This particular number actually texts me back. It's probably a text now number, Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, how may I help you? And I'm like, I'm looking for such and so. And I'm the listing agent for 2953, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yes. As soon as we get the survey done, we're waiting for the proposal and we can start building right away. I said, no, sir, there will be no building going on this land without a valid purchase contract. I don't know. Who are you? When did y'all send the offer? Are you prepared to pay $150K? It's actually, we just dropped the price to $140, but I was trying to get a little extra out. So I don't know. He was like, oh, just send me the payment link and I can pay right away. I said, no, what you're doing is illegal. And I don't know what kind of game, scheme, scam you're running, but that is absolutely not about to happen.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm driving right now. He texted back, I'm driving right now, so I'll call you. I said, yeah, I'll be awaiting your call. And so then I reached back out to the guy that owned the surveying company, legit company. They do a lot of good business, a lot of huge contracts. And he was like, I assure you that we don't do business like this. I thought something was a little strange. He was very apologetic. He was like, I said, now this has made me think, do I need to check the Superior Court Clerk Authority to make sure that nobody just transferred the deed? And it's so strange because that particular seller doesn't go up to the property every day, but it's so strange that they went on a day that the property happened to be unlocked, that he happened to go and that he was able to catch them, because there's no telling what could have happened.
Yeah.
There's no telling what could have happened.
Because this is, and I think we talked about this in a previous episode where there was like a couple that was basically selling properties that they didn't have the ability, or they didn't have, the authority to be able to sell. It was like they were running essentially a real estate fraudulent, fraud. It was a real estate scheme. They were fraudulently selling homes that they didn't have the ability to sell. So they would find these properties, act like they were, the owner of these properties. And then they were, hey, I'm going to sell this property to you. And they were selling it for really, really low. And this is actually how they got caught. They were selling the properties for a lot lower than what they were worth. So they would have a home that was like worth $200 and something $1,000, and they're like, oh, we'll let you have it for $50,000 or $75,000 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I believe it was like a real estate agent that was like, this seems fishy. Like, you got this property that's worth 200 something, but you're gonna let it go for like $20,000. And so that's when she started looking into it and finding like, oh, you don't actually own this property. And then they started tracing it back, and it's like, you've done this for a whole bunch of other things. And then they'll just take the money and then run and try and, wash, rinse, and repeat and do it over again with another property. And so, yeah, I mean, people, you got to protect yourself. You gotta exercise a healthy dose of caution with everyone that you interact with. And that's coming from someone who's a loan officer. And it's my job to get all up in everyone's business, who's looking for a mortgage, because I'm looking at everything from tax returns to bank statements to everything. But you know what? There's a way in which we do business where you'll never catch me going up and asking people for their personal information. We have secure portals. I will send you a link and you can go and research me. You can go in, I'll send you my NMLS number, which is tied to the federal national mortgage licensing system, registration and everything. You can go look up me. You can look up the states I'm licensed in. You can go Google me. You can find out any reviews that are out there about me. You can research the mess out of me before you ever fill out an application with me, just to make sure that I'm someone who's legitimate. And then you can research the mess out of the company that I work for, because the company has its own NMLS number that is assigned to that company. And you can research the company and research the states that the company's licensed in. And you can check the reviews that the company's done business in. And you can talk to, whoever. It's like, you can do your due diligence. And I hate to say it, but it's like, we are in that world where you need to do that type of due diligence. Because this is not the wild, wild west of, bank robbing, where it's like, oh, if someone's going to steal something, they're going to come and take it with a gun and, steal the cash out of the bank. Or it's like, no, it's a lot more crafty that is happening now. People will just lie to you, but those lies could end up costing you tens of thousands of dollars, just because you're not aware and you don't know. And the thing with this is, by the time that you do figure it out, the damage has already been done. Because in this particular instance, for example, with the story that we opened with, the people who thought that this dentist was going to be selling their home the ones that had their homes foreclosed, now they've lost those properties and they're trying to get back, some of what they've lost, maybe where there's filing title insurance claim for fraud or whatever. It's like they're trying to dig into whatever they can to get back what was lost there. But then you have the people who, the service members, if you will, who, when the foreclosures happened, when the home's foreclosed, that destroys your credit. So now you've got a foreclosure on your record. You're trying to remedy that, and that makes it hard for you to be able to purchase another home. It makes it hard for you to be able to rent a home when you've got that foreclosure that's just sitting on your record like that. And so they're trying to, fix that whole thing. And then you've got the people who paid down payment money, some of them tens of thousands of dollars in money for down payment, thinking that they were purchasing a home. You'll never get that money again. There's no recourse for that. You gave your money to this guy thinking that it was going to be something that it wasn't. And it turns out you never owned that property. He never even had the authority to sell you a property because he didn't own the property. And you're just out of that money. So you've got people that are out of tens of thousands. You got people who, have their credits jacked up. You got people who own homes now that are severely in default or foreclosed. And I mean, all around the board is just so many people that, got hurt and damaged throughout this whole process. Yeah, it's just unfortunate in the way that I see it and everything. So one of the things that I would say people need to do is, if your state allows it, if it's something that is available in your state, there's something that's called it's a fraud alert that you can actually put. And I sat through a training. I forget the actual name of it. But it's a fraud alert that you can put on the deed of the home, like basically the home that you own. So I'll explain what it is since I forget the actual name of it. And the actual name is actually not that important because it might be called different things depending upon the county that you live in and depending upon the state that you live in. Different states, different counties can call it different things. So the actual name is not as important, but I will say what it is that it's essentially an alert, a fraud alert for your property, if you will. So if at some point someone and this is something that the Fulton County has instituted, but if at any point someone files anything on the title of that property or the deed of that property, you receive a notice, and that won't stop that thing from being filed, but it will notify you the moment that it happens so that you can take immediate action on it, because that in and of itself could save you tons and tons of money and time. Because part of the issue is when you have stuff like this that has gone on for so long that, homes have had time to foreclose, which, by the way, you've got to miss 3 payments before a lender can start foreclosure proceedings. They can't, you missed 1 payment, we're going to foreclose on your property. That's not how it works. So when you're 90 days delinquent, okay, now we can start those foreclosure proceedings. Well, for it to even get to that point, it's got to get to 90 days. But what if you could get a notification the day or within 24 hours or 48 hours after someone's filed something to change the title to your property? That could save you a whole lot of headache, because you can then immediately go to the county and say, hey, I know that's fraud. I never, signed for that to happen. And whoever's thinking that they just purchased this property, no, I want to, we need to reverse course immediately. And you can start, having that done, 24 hours, 48 hours later, rather than 2 years later, 3 years later, even 3 months later, where now your home is in pre-foreclosure. So
earlier the better.
Yeah, is get in front of it, get on top of it, and make sure you're protecting yourself so that you're not getting caught up in some of these schemes that I feel are not going to go away, especially the higher that real estate goes in value, the more scarce that it becomes, or the harder the entry is for your average people. I think you're going to start seeing crime in the real estate sense pick up as well. And then there's squatters laws out there. So there's going to be different ways that people are going to try and get your home, and everything. But I think that the most that you can do to try and to protect yourself from some of these schemes and, scandals and everything that are out there, the better it'll be for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got all of us on a much higher, like, just alert, on edge now. They obviously want to prey on properties that they think are vacant. And this is why, as part of my real estate services, once a week, I try to visit all of my properties, especially if I don't have showings that week. I try to visit all of my properties that I have on the market, just to make sure that there's no funny business going on, because they love targeting these properties that they feel are vacant. So, keep your properties occupied, keep checking on your properties, do all that you can. We actually did a podcast about, there's 2 different filing systems in Georgia that you can sign up for. And Frederick and I did a podcast on that about a month or so back. So, if you're in Georgia, that would be definitely very helpful to do. Just sign up for that and stay tight out here in these streets, boy.
Yeah.
It's real in the field. It's real in the field.
Because real estate fraud is one of those things where I will say most states, I'll go on a limb and say, and I don't have the facts to check to back this up, but from what I've read and researched, I would go out on a limb and say most states don't have a very streamlined process for reversing that easily and quickly.
And cheaply
as well. Yes. It's not like someone steals your car. It's not going to be forever and a day for them to figure out, oh, well, we can look at the VIN number and then we can get, you can do some research and figure out, this is your car. They stole it. It's not like that for real estate. Things get filed with the county, but when you have fraudulent stuff that gets filed, how do they know that it's fraudulent? How do they know that that's not your signature on there? It's like, well, that's not what my signature looks like. And you've had people, and I kid you not, they have had their homes stolen out from under them in a similar manner, where someone created fraudulent deeds, filed them with the county, and years went by. They never even knew about it. And then all of a sudden, when it comes to surface, the people are like, no, this is actually my property. And then they're getting evicted from their own home, and the home is getting sold out from under them. And this is not fantasy. This is something that actually happened. Someone's home has been sold out from under them. And they're like, but this is my home. It's like, but the county records say it's their home. And you don't have anything that can go against the county records.
You got to go.
And so it's like you've had people been put out on the streets from their own home because someone fraudulently took it out from under them and sold it, and they still haven't gotten their home back.
All my life I had to fight.
There's no easy process to fix this. It's like, and unfortunately the county governments, they're moving slow in terms of coming up with a solution for this, because I feel like, if they moved as fast as the police want to move when they're trying to give you a traffic ticket, maybe we could get some actual, good stuff done. But it's like, we gotta, it's incumbent upon you to stay on top of it, because the county does not have a great system in place for most counties in the country to help reverse this. So if it's something that happens, you need to, if your county provides an alert where you can get a fraud alert on your property when something happens with the title, sign up for that. Sign up for that, because you do not want to be the person that you go to try to sell your home and find out, oh, well, you don't actually own this home according to the title search.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
What?
And you don't want to be the person that police knocking at your door. Can I help you? Yeah, we received the word that you were living here illegally. It's like, but it's my house. I've been here for I've been here for the last 12 years. It's like, yeah, according to the county records, it belongs to Mr. Russell. And you sold it to him and you just haven't moved
Boy,
out since.
I'd be fighting Mr. Russell, the police, my neighbor, the people. I don't care. The people at the grocery store. I'd be fighting at that man. Wow,
And if your name
that's
is
maddening. What you've worked hard for, struggled to help keep the lights on and the note paid and the water bill and memories that you've made, and then y'all come in. I don't even have any legal recourse in that moment.
No legal recourse.
I have to get out.
You have to get out.
Go through a legal process to be able to halfway get it back, but there's no legal process for me to stay. Like, that's not even an option. Like, that's devastating.
Oh,
devastating.
Beyond so, because it's like you said, it's like right now I have to leave and someone else can continue to sell my home while I'm standing right here on the curb. And in this particular instance, it was like they had hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity that just gone because this person just sold their home right up front from under them. And it's like they could be standing right next to you knowing it's fraud, but there's not a legal process in place for them to remedy that, at least in the immediate. And some people, they can't get it back at all because, again, how do you prove it's your property? Well, the way you prove it is when you have a deed, all of that gets recorded at the county courthouse. But if fraudulent stuff is recorded at the county courthouse, there's a whole lot that has to happen to try and prove that that's fraud, And that could take a while. I mean, you could be talking 6 months down the road, 9 months down the road. If you ever been through a court system before, I haven't, thankfully. But from what I've heard from people who have, it could be a nightmare just working through the court systems and everything to try and get back something. And this whole time, someone else is just having their way with your property. And then by the time you get it back, if you get it back, what condition is it going to be in? Like, you had a nice home with all your nice stuff perfectly, and then you get your home back that was fraudulently taken. You think it's still going to be in pristine condition? Or you're going to get it back and it's going to have stains and cigarette burns and holes knocked out.
Stinking there. Stinking. Smell like onion, feet, and unmentionable. What was y'all up in here doing? It was only 2 months.
Like, and they done ripped the water heater out of the wall. They done stole the copper out of your HVAC system. Like,
stuff Barbie heads down the toilet.
Like, just what? And then what? There's no recourse for that. I mean, what are you gonna do? So the best thing you can do is to stay out ahead of it and do what you can.
Proactive.
Be proactive. That's it. Just be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, yeah, it is what it is. Well, I mean, I feel like that's what the police.
After laying such heavy burdens on the people, all right, well.
I feel like that's what.
Listen, y'all, Frederick really does care more than that. I promise. I promise, y'all. Dang.
I mean, I feel like that's what the police officer would say when they show up to kick you out your own house. You like this
Lord, forgive us, Lord. We ain't sitting up like we're not laughing at y'all's misfortune if this has happened to y'all.
It's the situation.
It's just, listen, you have to find a light at the end of every dark tunnel because this is life.
It is.
That's for sure.
Because
I'm just grateful to be able to find the joy in any situation, but it's messed up, man.
It is. But I just feel like that's what the cop would say. He'd be like, but this is my house. He's like, I'm like, well, you gotta go. So, I mean,
and that's your hotel room.
It is what it is. Sorry. Because I mean that was the thing that they mentioned in the thing that I was a part of with the whole fraud stuff when I was sitting in that thing with the superior clerk court clerk of Fulton County. She was saying like, yeah, the cops, this isn't a crime that you can call 911 and get it rectified. Like, hey, they stole my bike, they stole my car, they stole my whatever, and I can prove it's mine. This isn't that type of crime. You know, they show up at the property and it's like, there's nothing that a cop can do for you. If they're kicking you out, it's because they have orders to go out there and evict you. So it's, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you got to just stay proactive because cops can't help you in that instance. If you call them, it's something that has to go through a much longer and arduous process with no guarantee that you're going to get back what was stolen from you. And the most important thing that you're definitely not going to get back, which was stolen from you, is your time. Because all that time that you're going to have to spend battling in the courts and the peace of mind that's going to steal from you and the years of your life after you stressing out about all this stuff that's happening right in front of you, and no one can do anything to stop it from happening, even though it's happening illegally. It's just not a process in place for it. So, yep. All right. Well, yeah. So we will. I need to have a different. We'll say, take better care of yourself. we'll have a.
Oh Lord, give me the cross, Jesus.
We'll say, y'all stay strong out there.
In the famous words of Johnny Cochran, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Yeah, we'll just have a random slogans just end out the. In the words of Mr. Good old Mr. Rogers, won't you be my neighbor? But no, it's yeah, no, I think this has been good. It's been good info, good stuff for people to know about and everything. So
absolutely.
Make sure you tune in for the next episode dropping on Friday and Tuesday, going live, home finance hacks. So you can learn about how you can save tens of thousands of dollars when you're going to purchase a home, or just get some tips, some tricks when you can start even hundreds or thousands of dollars, you know, just things that can help you along your home ownership journey. So in any case, thank you for taking the time to tune in. Hopefully you've gotten a lot from this and it will protect and benefit you if you implement it. So that's what we have for you. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. Take care. Be blessed. We'll see you next week.